Ahead of the Ondo State governorship election on Saturday, security agencies have reinforced measures to ensure a peaceful electoral process, deploying extensive personnel and resources to maintain law and order across the state. Well, let's cross over to our correspondent Tamilore Akinkwuolie, who is in Akure, the state capital, to get updates on happenings as residents prepare to go to the polls. Tamilore, if you can hear me, tell us what's the current mood in Akure at the moment regarding security, as well as the preparedness of INEC to conduct this election.
Well, Simi, just like you said, there have been calls to residents to come out to vote because based on historical data for the previous elections being held in the states, there have always been an increase in voters registration, but there seemed to always be an issue with voters turnout. Well, with that being said, I have here with me Mr. Chike Chude, one of the members of civil society organizations that are observing the election in the state. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Chike.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yes. Considering the fact that there have been sensitization about voters turnout and education, how well do you think the residents of Ondo State are prepared for this election?
Well, everybody's talking about it. Everybody obviously knows what is going on, what will be going on by tomorrow. But in terms of sensitization, in terms of the feelings by the citizens of the state, it's not, I mean, you go around, and we have gone around, not just me, but we have a lot of people. In fact, the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room was able, through its affiliation with the partners, and they've been able to deploy about 1,000 people across the 18 local governments in the state. So everybody is aware about the election. But in terms of voter participation, that itself is a problem. And this is not something that has to do with Ondo State. It has now become a perennial problem from year to year, from election to election, and from one part of the country to the other part of the country. There is a loss in belief in the democratic process, in the electoral process in the country. And that, I think, is a major disincentive for a lot of people who are interested. Fortunately, to some extent, we're able to take voter expectation to the zenith, to the peak. That is before the 2023 general election. If you remember correctly, the issue of registration, people were so mobilized, especially the young ones, who perhaps began to feel for the very first time that maybe Nigeria is beginning to get it right. And we were able to give them that impression. I'm talking of civil society and the media, because of what we saw in Anambra State, the success we saw, a relative success we saw in the elections in Anambra State, in Osun State, in Ekiti State, back to back to back. And then so we now built that confidence in Nigerians, especially the young people, and the young people on their own were able to mobilize themselves massively to go and register across the country. And then, so there was so much expectation. And then there was this magic word we kept on using: Beavers is going to be a game changer. Yes. Because Beavers had worked in Anambra State, Ekiti State, Osun State, and all, with a few contradictions here and there. And then all of a sudden, the election came and went. And then we had a major problem with the Beavers. We were told that there was a glitch, and people's expectations were dashed. So from that moment, from that peak, that zenith, that voter expectation had gotten to, it went down to an all-time low. Right. So now it now became a problem for INEC to now once more prove itself. Okay. We went into other elections in Bayelsa State, in Imo State, in Kogi State, a disaster. So if there's anything that is contributing to low voter turnout, it is as a result of this. Apart from the fact that the politicians are the primary beneficiaries of elections when they win, they are not doing their job. It is their primary responsibility to mobilize voters.
Well, sorry to cut you short. Lastly, before I let you go, well, the civil society organizations seem to be heavily prepared. Just like you said, you have like 1,000 observers here for the election. What are your expectations for this election tomorrow?
No, well, the good thing, let me tell you, the uniqueness of this particular election is the fact that you don't find the kind of tension you see in virtually every state in this country in this particular election. Perhaps people have argued that perhaps it is because of the weakness of the competition.
Yes.
Unlike what we had in the past in Ondo State, it has always been tension-soaked. But it's not the same. Then another reason people have given is that the two candidates are from one part of the state.
Yes.
And so I think the way from what we are told, the way the voters are looking at it, this person loses, we gain. This other person loses, we gain. So there is no need breaking our heads because ultimately we are going to be the winner. So I think that in a way that has brought down, tension in the state, and that is a good thing. The animosity we see, the hostility we usually see that characterize elections like this, we are not seeing it. And so you can see that there is this feeling of, not fear, but this feeling of, well, the elections will come and go. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Chike.
No, it's been a pleasure always.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Simi, that's it from us from here in Accra. We hope to see a very peaceful.
Thank you very much, Amilore Akinkwole, for that update on current happenings in Ondo State.